it's funny, you hear people talking when they come in, you hear people when they're looking at the menu, like, oh yeah, you know, we saw this on the show, and they bring their buddies in because it's like a spot that he went to. I don't think you can overstate what a big impact that was. I mean, he really opened people's eyes to what was possible for people's careers. For him to like go through the ranks like that and end up being the huge superstar, and, you know, being able to be this cultural ambassador and like show people new things from all over the world. I mean, that's a huge deal.
It was one of the highlights of my year, if not life. You know, I mean, really to meet and connect with Anthony. It was intimidating, it was fun, it was exciting, and it was extremely stimulating. And my impressions of sitting down with him, and we sat down for about an hour and a half over lunch and talked about a whole host of things. But he came in a mad dash, as you'd expect. My first impressions were, wow, this is exactly the guy that you see on camera. And he was brusque and in your face. But after sitting down and talking to him, you could tell there was just this real light in his soul. Really, really intelligent, stimulating conversation. And I felt I could sit there and talk to him for the next 5 hours. Just really passionate, really in touch with people and what their needs were. And within a matter of minutes, really, a person who's not from here was really distilling a number of the issues that we're facing in Seattle in a really meaningful way. And I appreciated that.
That's kind of the hallmark of, that was the hallmark of his show, is that like, it was like, you'd go to restaurants, it was about food, but the conversation was about so much more than what you're eating.
Yeah, and it was funny, when I was talking to friends that we were going to appear on Anthony Bourdain's show, I don't think as many people were as knowledgeable about Parts Unknown. They knew kind of the Bad Boy Chef and some of his past writing, and they're like, well, you're meeting with Anthony Bourdain? Why in the world are they having the folks from GeekWire on Parts Unknown? And I was like, well, you haven't watched the show. You know, food is it's a stepping stone into him telling stories about a place and about people. And that's one of the reasons I'm a huge fan of the show and was so excited to participate in the episode here in Seattle. And I think that's absolutely right, this idea that using kind of food as a jumping off point to tell deeper stories about a community is really powerful. And I'm sad that that's not going to be part of my life anymore.
What do you think it says about Seattle that he wanted to take his show here more than once and talk about its restaurants and its people and its ideas?
You know, I think he really identified with Seattle. There's a bit of grunge in Anthony. And in fact, when I appeared on the show with him, I think that was one of the things that resonated with him, because I had a comment saying about how Seattle was transitioning from grunge to geek. And I think he was really fascinated by that and what was happening there. But there was still a bit of old school grunge in him, and that came across. And I think that's one of the reasons why he loved Seattle. He loved the music scene. He loved the entrepreneurial nature of the food community here. I think he liked the progressive component of society that we have in Seattle. Frankly, I think we could use a little bit more of Bourdain's direct, in-your-face approach in Seattle rather than the passive-aggressive nature that many of us are accused of. But yeah, I think there were parts of Seattle that he really identified with.